everybody. Sending you so much love. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so I just want to do a real quick check. And team, make sure we have nothing pinned on any of our social medias. So we got nothing pinned, and this live is at the top. Everybody let me know, is this live at the top of social media? Hopefully. Okay, so here's the thing. I want to know who started with me on Monday on this journey, this rise above all the challenges, this rise up now challenge. Who's been with me since Monday? Who's been here Monday, Tuesday, and now Wednesday? I just want to know. Put me in the comment section if that's you. Who's been the all-in people, right? Who's been those? So good. It's so good to see that. Some people are like, I'm catching up. So good. Okay, so let me give you a snippet. Number one is almost every day, I get inspired to give something extra because you guys, I'm telling you, skimming on social media, like, first of all, it's a great way to get depressed on where your life might not be perfect, right? But the truth is that if you're growing your life, there's areas of your life that break and that we want to close the gap on, and we want to keep growing it. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? And so the game of perfection is a game I gave up a long time ago because you just look at the areas that start to get stressed. Does anybody have a stressed part of your life right now? Right? Anybody? Put yes if you have an area of your life that's stressed. In fact, tell us where that is, right? Where is the area in your life that is stressed right now? Don't put the person's name if it's on the person. Just put someone I love, my brother, my sister, my spouse, somebody I'm dating. Maybe it's your business. Maybe it's your marketing plan. Maybe you can't get yourself, like me when I was telling VIP before we jumped on, I was like, I was the girl who'd go to Starbucks and I'd have those moments where I was like, it's all coming together. Like I can feel it coming together. Anybody else have those moments where like, I could feel a miracle coming in. But at the end of the day, I kept falling up short. Now, notice I didn't say the rug got pulled up from underneath me. Sometimes I say that to people, they're like, oh yeah, that happens to me all the time. What if you could stop the rug from being pulled out from underneath you? What if more people than you know actually are getting the rug pulled out from underneath them? They're getting served with divorce papers, and like, they're like, they find out, I just read a post of somebody that I know really well that was leading a huge church that ended up getting into addiction and drinking and ended up having infidelity in his relationship. Thank the good Lord that he has been able to put that relationship, his marriage and his kids back together. And he just did a post today and just the journey that's taken. Like, those are moments that the rug gets pulled up from underneath you. But the question is, do you let it all fall apart? Right? And if you're an entrepreneur, I'm telling you, almost every campaign that gets put together, every event, every book launch, every something, there's just stuff that stops working or never started working in the first place. And so those are moments that the rug's being pulled out from underneath you. And so what if you could stop that rug from being pulled out from underneath you, and you had the power, this is what we're going to talk about today, you had the power to face whatever the fear is, the fear of loss, the fear of looking bad, the fear of being broke, the fear of like giving your heart away to someone and it not working. What if you could take that big boulder, right? That big boulder. Because I'm going to tell you, money is easy to make. I want everybody to put that in the comment section. Money is easy. Money is easy. Money is easy. Like, you need to say that. Like, money is so easy to make. It's so easy to make. And as you grow your companies, you guys who are entrepreneurs, you're going to see that as you figure that out, it becomes reliable. How many of you guys want reliable income, right? Put me, right? So money is easy to make. It becomes reliable. But then a new problem happens where the rug starts to get pulled out from underneath you. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's so hard to keep. And maybe you stop trusting yourself because you start throwing money at things to fix them. And you realize you actually need your leadership. Right? Like, you matter so much that the way you think, your instincts, your gut, like what you see, you cannot. Has anybody tried to outsource their success? I mean, I certainly have. I mean, I have paid $7,000, $10,000, $12,000. Teach me how to do a webinar. It's like, no, until I got into the webinar, until I got into the event and the content, until you take a stand and say, you know what, that rug's not being pulled out from underneath me anymore. I'm going to succeed in this program. I'm going to complete what I start. I'm going to close the gap and make money. I'm going to turn this relationship around. I'm going to own this. Everybody put the word own in the comment section, right? I'm going to own this. Until that starts to happen, you will live a disempowered life. I'm not trying to put Debbie Downer on this, right? I'm saying that there's light at the end of the tunnel. And whatever your biggest inner block really is, because you all have it, unless you're just coasting in life and you don't have much of a goal to do anything, which you wouldn't even be on the Rise Up Now challenge if that's the case. Or you guys who are not registered for the challenge, you're actually just watching Shand on Demand right now that we put this at the same time. See, that's leadership. Instead of just stopping doing my Shand on Demand lives, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a bunch of people for 2 weeks. I'm going to show them how they can create $1 million income stream in their life. And that it doesn't have to be that hard, but they don't teach it in school. And they certainly don't teach great leadership in school because they teach you to be quiet, right? Do you guys hear what I'm saying? I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying that just is. To keep organization, they're like, shh. Like there is no shh to my son. There is none of that. There is teaching him how to not be rude, teaching him how to be polite, teaching him how to be a giver, teaching him how to go for it. That's backfired, by the way. For you parents, who are my parents, put a P in the comment section. My son is so relentless now that he says to me, Mom, I complete what I start. It's time to go. I complete what I start. I never stop. I complete what I start. Mom, I'll come as soon as I complete what I start here. So that's backfired on me a little bit. Little self-employed, self-promoting kid, right? But then there's also, if he runs into challenge, he just doesn't believe that no is a real thing. He believes that there's always a way. And it's incredible to see the effects of a kid like that. It is much more challenging to parent, right? Because I can't control him. I have to work with him. But it's incredible. And I wish I would have had that opportunity as a kid. Who else would have loved to have had an opportunity as a kid where you had a parent that helped inspire your voice, inspire your leadership? Because leadership, when you talk about going all in, let's do a check real quick. If you think about your business and your life, because it's going to mirror each other, if you graded yourself on all in as 100%, I'm 100% all in. I'm a 10 out of 10 in my life, right? I'm 100% all in. So if you're 100% all in, then I want you to put 100%. But I want you to ask yourself clearly, are you 90, 80, 70, 30, 20? And don't judge each other and don't be afraid to post it, okay? Because if you're 100% in, that means everything's coming together, right? It means you're not procrastinating. I'm gonna call you on some of this. It means you're not procrastinating. It means you're using your voice. You're not saying things like, that person shuts me down. You're not saying things like, I don't have a voice in my relationship. You're not saying things like, I can't find any good people in the world to help me build this business, or I can't really find any good men or women in the world to date and fall in love with. Like, none of that conversation is 100% in. Do you get what I'm saying? So I want you to do a true test on yourself right now and ask yourself, where are you really? Okay. And out of like 5% up to 100% all in. And so today is an opportunity where I'm going to introduce one of my mentors. He is, I would say, one of the most impactful mentors I've had, because he's the course. He was my trainer in leadership. He's the course. He's the friend. He's the mentor. He's the business partner. He's everything that was never just a course that I left back then. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Like, I didn't work with them and then it stopped working in my life. I worked with him and I've created and run into roadblocks and have been overcome them and still run into roadblocks, but I have no fear that there is not a way through them because of this man's influence on me. And so he's a father, he is a husband, he is a businessman, he's been a trainer for a very, very long time around helping people like us, y'all, overcome our greatest fears, our greatest excuses. Who knows you have some? Put an E in the comment section if you know you have an excuse somewhere, right? He's the greatest excuses that we have that are logical. He's the guy that really helps us. He's the bridge that helps us overcome that. So I encourage you to take a moment and ground yourself and write down a phrase or a word or something that you want to see unlodged today. You want to break free of it. Like, write it down, because I want you to look at it afterwards, and hopefully you'll look at it while he's speaking today, and you'll have a moment where you'll be like, oh my gosh, that's starting to move. So you run towards something that's working. Do you get what I'm saying? Like you run towards something that's working. So depending on the feedback, I want to see the chats light up. I'm looking for ahas. Yesterday, Trisha Powe, Powe, Trisha Powe, we are gifting you a trip to Hawaii or Mexico for 4 days on us for doing the homework last night. Here's the homework today. The homework is I want to see the people who are having the real ahas, the real breakthroughs. So I want you to put aha and then write whatever's opening up for you. When I see people who are actually engaged, and I don't mean like, wow, ha, like I mean, I want to see some real things shaken off you today. When I see some things shaking off you, I want to see, aha, tell us what's shaking off you in the comment section. My team is going to look for 2 people, and 2 people, we're going to gift you a $600 prepaid visa, just because you're engaged in your life. You're not multitasking during this training. Michael's going to run for about 30, 35 minutes, and then I'm going to come close out the training for today. You guys ready? You guys ready? Put Michael in the comment section if you're ready. So good. Hey, Mr. Michael, you're muted. Let me unmute you. Yeah. How are you?
Excellent. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
So good. I'm gonna hand the virtual stage over to you. Thank you for being here. I'm really excited for you to help them take on the inner war. Bye, guys.
Hi, Shanda. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning from wherever you are in the world. So I want to start today by asking you if you can remember when you were a child, a small child, let's say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a young child. And I want you to remember how creative you were. Remember how you believed that anything was possible. We all thought that way. We had no limitations. We didn't have history. And we also never held on to anything. So we'd always let it go. We were resilient. So think about how many times you might have hurt yourself, how many times you might have failed at something, how many times, maybe you were upset or you were hurt or something happened in your family. And then maybe you'd cry it out or you'd be upset or whatever. You go to bed, you wake up the next day, and it was a new day. I mean, literally, it was a new day and felt that way too. So we didn't hold on to things. Remember those days? Deep down, buried underneath, the adult that you have become is that child. You still have within you, we all do within us, resilience and the ability to shift, the ability to learn things that we didn't know, the ability to adapt and adjust and redesign and reinvent ourselves. As a matter of fact, I believe that one of the most important, valuable aspects of being a human being is the ability to redesign and reinvent ourselves. 100 years ago, it was a fantasy to imagine space travel, an astronaut, a rocket ship. There were books about it, there were magazines about it, there were cartoons about it, there were shows about it. It was like this thing that, people are going to go to space. And then we went to space. And then we went to the moon. And then we had a space lab, and it floats in space around the Earth. And it happens, and we don't even think about it anymore. It's not even like a big deal. It's kind of just like part of our everyday life. We think about space travel now much like we think about driving a car, like it's not special, it's not a big deal. And then every now and then a rocket will take off, or somebody starts talking about going to Mars, and then that perks our interest again. That gets us excited again as humans. So what I'm saying is, if you think about us and you and the way that you are living your life, we all have inside of us an entrepreneurial spirit, a visionary spirit, a pioneering spirit that must be fulfilled. I was just talking to somebody earlier today who is professional and successful at their work and their job, and they've been doing it for many years. And they get paid, let's call it really good money, comparatively to what most people think is really good money. They probably make, I don't know, $300,000 a year. But this person is completely unfulfilled. Unfulfilled. He feels like there's no vision in his work. There's no newness in his work. There's no excitement. There's no discovery. When you know everything and you have gotten to a certain level where you stop learning and you stop growing, what happens to us is we start to die. We start to wither away. We start to lose the juice. We lose the joy. So even though the outside world looking at this person might say, wow, this is a really successful person, he's not happy. He's not satisfied. So it doesn't have anything to do with money. And by the way, it's not about whether he's good or not good in his job. It has to do with discovering his purpose and waking up every day, jumping out of bed in the pursuit of that vision and the pursuit of that purpose. When we were 5, 6, 7 years old, we were creative every single day. Think about all the different ways you used to make up games. We even made up imaginary friends. Anybody have an imaginary friend? We used to pretend we were school teachers, or we would pretend that we're firemen, or pretend that we're policemen, or pretend we're in the army, or pretend we're in a band, or pretend we're in a gang. I saw the movie Grease. Anybody see the movie Grease? I saw the movie Grease, and my brother and I and our friends started a gang, the Cobras. Now, we weren't really a gang, but we were a bunch of friends that hung out together, and we wanted to be cool, and we wanted to be creative and fun and tap into the joy that we experienced in watching this spectacle on the screen. We wanted to be part of that. And so when we're kids, it's easy to be an artist. It's easy to be creative. Many of us, that's all we had. Some of you didn't grow up with money. You might have had one toy or one doll or one Matchbox car. Some of you might have had all the things that you wanted, and no matter what you had, you still wanted more. Everybody has a different upbringing. We all go through life differently. But I want you to think about right now something you want in your life that you don't have, that you've wanted for a long time, something personally or professionally. Write it in the chat. What is something that you want? And when I say want, I'm talking about it's important to you. It matters to you. Maybe you've never told anybody, I want to write a book. Do you know how many people have never said out loud, I want to write a book, or have never said out loud, I want to own my own business, or I want to be a millionaire? Whatever it is, what is it you want in your life that you don't have right now? And the next question is something that really lives for you. It's got to be, it lives for you. It can't just be like, yeah, it'd be okay. It'd be fine. It'd make my life a little bit better. Okay. So think about that thing you want that would impact the quality of your life. And in most cases, if you look at the things you are writing here, it would also impact the quality of other people's lives. You're talking about books. You're talking about success and millions. You're talking about the possibility of employing people, building a company, hiring people, creating opportunities for people to make money themselves. So when you make money, you create opportunities for other people to make money too. When you create love or happiness in the world, what are you doing with that? Hoarding it? No, you're spreading it. You're getting it all over everybody. So when you're happy, who wins? When you're happy, every single person that comes in contact with you wins. When you're abundant, every single person that comes in contact with you benefits from your attitude, from your success, from your accomplishment, from your ways of being. So think about what you want, something that would light you up. And then what would you need to give up in order to create it? What is that attitude, that belief, that circumstance, that story? What is it that's in the way that you would have to give up in order to create that vision? Is it, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm afraid of failure, I'm afraid of success, I've never done it before, who's going to listen to me, I don't have any credibility, who would want to buy my book, nobody even knows who I am? Whatever your story is, what is that story that you must give up? In order for you to create something that doesn't exist, in order for you to manifest a breakthrough in an area of your life that you've never had a breakthrough before, or you've been wanting for a long time, you must be willing to give up something that isn't working. So I'm going to give you an example. Victim. Many people are victims and don't even know they're victims, but you're a victim. We're victims in so many ways that are conscious and unconscious. My experience as a trainer and a coach, victim is a story that we make up that limits us and holds us back. So if you're not worthy, or if you're not confident, or if you're insecure, or if you're afraid of making mistakes, well, then you have victim stories from your past that are impacting your present. Think of it like a car. You're driving your car by looking through the rear view mirror. Think of your car as a vehicle to support you in getting from where you are to where you want to be. How effective are you going to be in using your car, this tool, this vehicle, to get from where you are to where you want to be if you're looking in the rear view mirror? And if the past is dictating your actions, your steps, and so on. Now, do you have legitimate reasons to be a victim? Of course you do. Of course you do. If somebody broke trust with you, if somebody betrayed you, somebody lied to you, somebody abandoned you, if somebody was out of integrity with you, in all the different ways that that can happen, can you, as a human being, feel victimized? Yes, of course you can. But here's where the breakdown happens. The breakdown happens when that story of you being a victim is adopted from something in the past that happened to you. And now that story of being a victim is what drives your actions, your attitudes, and behaviors moving forward. And so then guess who ultimately is victimizing you? Yourself. You're actually using the information of what happened in the past as a way for you to perpetually beat yourself up moving forward. So take Shanda, for example, because Shanda said, I was her trainer, I was her coach, I was her mentor. When I met Shanda, I saw from the outside in was a star. So I saw her as a star. Shanda did not see herself as a star. Shanda saw herself as broken, in breakdown, a failure. So in other words, she was being right about whatever happened in her life. But that's not what I saw. I saw this remarkable human being, this leader who has incredible energy and passion and possibility. And so when she let go of that victim story, which is the point, when she released that, let that go, she got her power back. And when you get your power back, the question then becomes, what do you choose to do with that power? And what she's done with that power is create an incredible vision, passion, and purpose in her life, which is not just created HCL, created HCB, created these programs and these trainings. She's making an impact, making a difference internationally, all over the world. And by the way, she might be 5'2" in high heels, but she's larger than life. I mean, I was watching her when we first came on. Every time I see Shanda, Every time I experience her, for the people that haven't met her live, I mean, she's like 6'10" in her Zoom, blowing the lid off, blowing the doors off. No one has ever had more energy than her. So she doesn't show up 5'2" in high heels. She shows up larger than life. And there's no difference between Shanda and you. There's no difference. Shanda was not born with a silver spoon in her mouth. Shanda didn't go through life and never had any breakdowns and everything went her way. She's a human being just like you, where we start off, we're fired up, we're lit up, we're born into the world, we have infinite possibility, and then something happens. Maybe it was your dad passing away. Maybe it was your parents getting divorced. Maybe it was your mom losing her job. Maybe it was you finding out you were adopted when you were 7. Maybe it was having a little brother and a little sister. It went from all about you to now you got to share the time, share the space, share the attention. Maybe you were no longer a child and now you've got to take care of your brother and sister. So it used to be about you. Now it's always, okay, where's your brother? Where's your sister? Can you get them ready for bed? Can you get them ready for school? So now you're 7 years old and you're no longer a child with vision and dreams. You're an employee. You're like an extension of your mother, doing your mother's job, doing your mother's work. And that happens for a lot of us. And as we go through life, we have lots of events. We have lots of experiences. We have lots of moments where painful things happen, where painful moments occur, where we shut down pieces of us, where we deny pieces of us, where we bury pieces of us because maybe we're criticized, or maybe we're judged, or maybe we're laughed at, or maybe we're bullied. Those of you that are old enough to remember bullying before cyberbullying, now we've got bullying and cyberbullying. These experiences, painful, traumatic experiences, affect us. Anybody ever see the movie Ghostbusters? It's like getting slime on us. We get slimed. And when we get slimed, think of the slime as sort of like a film over us. It's like a bubble over us. And so the real us is in there underneath the slime. And so when we release that slime, when we let go of those negative beliefs, those negative thoughts, those negative interpretations, when we let go of the power and the gravity that the past has over us, you know what happens? It's like lifting up the anchor for a beautiful sailboat, and you put those sails up and then you head out into uncharted waters. When you release and you let go of whatever that belief is that's holding you back, it could be victim, it could be unworthiness, it could be insecurity, it could be fear of failure, fear of success. It could simply be fear of being seen, fear of being wrong. You know, Shanda talked about how in school, the leadership is designed to control the environment, which is what she meant by shh. So I had a mother that said shh all the time. Anybody else have a mother like that? So my mother always said, turn it down. You ready? Turn it down, keep it down, lower the volume. I'd be in my bedroom. I've got the music playing all the way up. And my mother would come and pound on the door and say, turn it down, keep it down. The entire experience for me as a child growing up was I had to behave a certain way. It was a controlling environment, not just in school, but in home. And many of you have been through the same thing. Now, what happens to most of us is we go one of two directions. We become a good girl / good boy who follows the rules. How many rule followers do we have here? Okay. Then we have the other kid, the rebel. So you become rebellious. In other words, mom says no, you say yes. Teachers say stop talking, you talk more. You're not allowed to chew gum, you're buying gum, and you're passing it out to your friends in class. How many rebels do we have here? Okay, so when you are a good girl or a good boy who follows the rules, what you also need to know is you're stifling your creativity. And so if you are committed to achieving the goal, the result, the breakthrough, this aspect of your life that I asked you to connect with, something you want, something that matters to you, this incredibly important area of your life, if you're committed to that result, then you must give yourself permission to sing out loud, to scream from the rooftops, to go for it, to risk, to be courageous. Do you know what I know about people? Everybody is waiting for somebody to give them permission to be courageous. Think of how funny that statement is. Everybody is waiting for the water to be perfect temperature, exactly the way my body likes it, before I jump into the deep end of the pool. It can't be too cold or I'm not going in. It's got to be just right. And see, that's not how it works. If you're committed to creating something extraordinary, if you're committed to creating abundance and prosperity in your life, many of you wrote, I want to make money. I want to make abundance of money. I want to be a millionaire. I want to be successful financially. I want to break through in my financial life. Well, guess what? You're never going to get there by having your fear control you and your actions and your behaviors. It requires risk. Now, does the risk need to be a blind risk? No, of course not. I know you've heard the term calculated risk. So, do you have to abandon your critical thinking skills and just be a risk taker? No, of course you don't. But what you can do is balance between critical thinking skills and courage, critical thinking skills and risk taking. So if you've got a business, you've got a product, you have something you are offering the world, and you are 100% enrolled in whatever that product or service is, let's just say, then we know that you have confidence and belief in it. If you don't have the same level of confidence and belief in self, then you're never going to sell it at the level that you want in order to create abundance and prosperity, in order to create something extraordinary. So we all have a comfort zone. We all have a box that we operate from, much like your Zoom box. So think of the lines of your Zoom box right now, your camera and your picture, as your comfort zone. Whatever you currently have in your life is in your comfort zone. Whatever you've accomplished in your life is in your comfort zone. Whatever works is in your comfort zone. Whatever doesn't work, it's in your comfort zone. Now, what you want is outside of your box. So the goal that you wrote, the goal that you declared in the chat, that's outside of the box. Now, in order to create that, you're going to have to do what we call stretching. So everybody look at this, stretching. Think of this as a rubber band. And maybe you've never done this experiment before, but it's a very simple experiment. Maybe you've done it. When you take a rubber band and you pull that rubber band and you let it go, what happens to the rubber band? Write it in the chat. When you pull that rubber band and you extend it, you stretch it. When you let it go, it snaps back. It snaps back. Now, let's say you do it again and you go a little bit further this time. Ready? You let it go. What does it do? Write it in the chat. It snaps back, but not to its original form. Now you stretch that rubber band again. You go further and you let it go. It'll snap back, but not to its original form. When you stretch out of your comfort zone, and you stretch out of your comfort zone today, tonight, tomorrow, and you do it every day, what you're doing is you're expanding your box. You're expanding your comfort zone. You're becoming courageous as a way of life. Martin Luther King said, courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is action in the face of fear. Fear only stops us if we are committed to being right. If we are committed to our vision or committed to our goals, then we accept. Everybody understand this word? We accept fear is part of it. We know fear is part of it. We accept it. And then we take the action in the face of the fear. And when we take the action in the face of the fear, in pursuit of that goal, in pursuit of that vision, in pursuit of that result that we say we want, you know what we're doing? We're building the muscle of courage. And as you build that muscle of courage, it becomes more and more and more exciting. The flip side of fear is excitement. Think of a roller coaster. When you're starting the roller coaster, you're puckering, you're holding on for dear life, you're grabbing, you're holding, you're praying, you're saying things to yourself like, what did I do this for? I must have been out of my mind. And you're afraid and you're tight and you're scared to death and you think you're going to die. And this roller coaster, of course, starts off super slow to enhance the fear, to make it worse. And then all of a sudden you start getting to the top and then you release and you let go and the roller coaster takes off and it's spinning and it's turning and it's flipping and you're screaming out loud. And then the roller coaster ride is done. And what do you say? That was awesome. I want to do it again. That was incredible. I lived. You're alive. Living occurs when we are taking risks every day in hot pursuit of what matters to us in our lives. If you're at Starbucks, do we have any single people here? Any single people? Okay, single people, pay attention. When you're at Starbucks, you know what that's called? That's called a relationship opportunity. www.getoutofyourhouse.com. You go to Starbucks at 8 a.m. and have a seat in the love seat. Create space. So there's an opportunity to share that love seat with somebody because the love of your life is coming in. And open yourself up. So when people come in, don't just sit there and stare and don't go, bury yourself in your phone. When people come in, you know what this is? Love, an opportunity for love, an opportunity for a new date, a new friend, a business partner, somebody you could sell your product to, somebody that might become a great friend in your life or somebody you refer to something else. Who knows? But they're opportunities. And so what you do is when you see these people come in, you see what's possible, you say hi. When you see the man or woman of your dreams, you don't stuff yourself inside of your donut or your coffee cake or your pop, your cake pop. You open up and you take a risk. You said, hey buddy, how's it going? Come on over and have a seat. I've got a spot for you. You walked in and you know what? A lightning bolt just hit me and I see my future and you're in it. Be fun, be attractive, be captivating, be courageous, be unapologetic. I mean, what are you going to do? Because think about how many times you've been out in the world and the man of your dreams, woman of your dreams is walking by and you're blinders on, afraid of rejection, afraid of failure. Maybe you'll look bad. Maybe they'll not think you're attractive, whatever all the stories are. But how do you know if you're not walking by the future Mr. or Mrs. in your life? Open yourself up to those possibilities. Just say hi. Just take a risk. It doesn't have to be, hi, I want to marry you. It could simply be, hi, how's it going? Wow, I love your hair. Wow, you are gorgeous. Did anybody ever tell you that? You might be the most beautiful man I have ever seen in my life. Where have you been all my life? Say something fun. Say something provocative. Say something that opens up possibilities. What you can't do is see possibilities and deny yourself them. So I'm just playfully saying to all of you, take risks, open yourself up. How you break out of that comfort zone, that repetition, that automatic pilot, that living where it's not really living, it's surviving. How you break out of that is by taking risks and going after what matters to you. Be in hot pursuit of your dreams. You don't have to manifest them all overnight, but you are in hot pursuit every day. Plant the seeds, take the action, be courageous, trust yourself. Stop looking in the rearview mirror to determine what you're up to now and where you are driving your car. Let's create the life of our dreams. So Shanna's back on, and I think we're at time. Great to see you. Great to connect. Thank you.
So good. Okay, Michael, before you take off, I just want to say something. So you give the Starbucks story, right? Has anybody been a coffee shop entrepreneur, just a coffee shop junkie, right? So like you're going to the coffee shop. So I remember when I was looking for Ash, and the guy that actually opened me up to love before Ash was a guy that I saw in the coffee shop in Del Mar, California. And I remember sitting there going, gosh, and I started to dream. How many of you guys need to start to dream again? I started to dream, but I was exactly like what Michael says. And Michael knows this very painfully in my past. And so this is not wine, it's hydration, but I sit there and if I was having a glass of wine, I'd be like in my wine glass, like all the way in my wine glass, because I 100% I don't think I realized it then, Michael, but I was so afraid of rejection. And I was so afraid of opening up and showing all the good, the ugly, the everything. Like you guys, I just recently had a conversation with my husband and shared with him something I'd never told anybody in my life. And he looked at me, like that takes courage, right? Which is part of leadership. He looked at me and he's like, that's no big deal. And I'm like mortified. Like, I'm just like, but I have the most profound experience because I'm like, finally somebody knows this about me, and thank God it's him, right? Like my point is that how many years, Michael, did I spend hiding from love? Did I spend hiding in my career before I was even an entrepreneur, right? It was years. I mean, when I went into the training room, I stayed in the training room for 4 years straight, and one of the trainers said, get out of the training room. Like, it was like 4 years straight. I was nonstop in the training room. And I'll talk to you guys about that in a second, but I just want to thank you, because one of the things that I say that was a big aha is that the coffee shop is a great place to find love, but it's also a great place to find prospects in business. It's a great place to find friends. It's a great place. But so many people go in and they don't lead it well. They get in there, they get their coffee, or they get their salad or their donut, and they just don't lead it well. So when Michael and I are talking about leadership, we're putting the power back in your space, saying, hey guys, it's time to have the leadership that you want. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Yes? So good. So Michael, thank you for jumping on. Okay, so I want to share something with you guys. Give him so much love, you guys. Give him love, give him love, give him love. Light up the chats. All right, pull Michael up for me. It's so good. Okay, so here's the thing. I wrote this down and I was saying, I said, I can barely read my notes. How many of you guys have breakthroughs? Right? How many of you guys just have breakthroughs? Like literally, I just said to Ash, I just had like another shift, right? I said, so the game is never over. We keep going, hopefully, right? Like otherwise we're dead. We keep going. So this idea, so first off that I want to break off is let's break the idea that it's a destination, right? Like let's stop dieting. Let's stop putting our business on a diet where we like push and then we're exhausted. We push, then we're exhausted. Let's actually just make abundance a lifestyle. Who's down with that, right? Like, let's just make a lifestyle of happiness, a lifestyle of having better friends around, some of you guys, right? A lifestyle of raising our standards. That's a big thing that I'm working on this year, is like, how do I raise my standards? Because every time I have to put my foot down, I feel like a BI, you guys can finish the rest of the word, right? Like, it's like knowing how to do standards better without feeling like I have to defend myself. These are all leadership. And I'm going to tell you, you're judging people in your life right now that are trying to break through a leadership challenge. You guys get that? People are judging you too, right? Like, you guys, can we just neutralize the blame for a second? Because if we don't neutralize the blame, it goes back to what Michael was talking about. You're probably 100% justified and right about being mad, frustrated, or opinionated about something. I get it. But what does it look like if you shift the conversation and the relationship starts to heal? Right? If you shift the conversation and go, how many guys have a book and you put book that you've been waiting to do? Right? How many guys got a book that you've had for a while and it's a someday thing, or you've been doing it for a long time? And then you see someone like when Wayne Dyer was alive can pop out a book in a couple weeks. Or you see somebody like Grant Cardone who goes into an office, spends an entire day and pops out like 10X or one of his books. And he, by the way, he thought that book sucked. And it was the book that put him on the map, right? Like, there's so many things you're grounding. How many guys, who am I speaking to right now? There's so many things that we're grounding because of our leadership, and we're trying to control it because we're trying to get it right. Like, we're doing a big hire and hardcore right now, and they're like, well, here's the ad to look at, Jen. I'm like, don't wait for me. Use your leadership, get it up. We can make it perfect later, right? Like, I don't care if there's 4 people at an event, 400, 4,000, 400,000. I guess that's where I'm going, right? Like, if you can see it, you can sell it to yourself. You can see it, you can lead it, right? But when you can't see it, and we're caught up on these weed conversations. Who's tired of the freaking weeds in your life? I certainly was. Starbucks never profited for me. Starbucks was a place that I went that it made me not feel as bad, that I was doing absolutely nothing with my life. I had dreams, I had aspirations, but you know what? You can only look in the mirror so many times and go, well, the money's not really going up, and it hasn't been going up for all these years, but God's sakes, I've had some moments where I felt like it was all coming together, but at the end of the day, I didn't lead it. Who am I talking to right now? Right? Like, maybe you're not broke. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. I'm just telling you that there's nothing actually wrong with you. And when I got a hold of leadership, when I had a great friend of mine, Carrie Henderson, who said to me, she said, Shandy, you know, like, you're this playful, fun girl, but then you get into business and I go from like, good morning to really serious, which is very unenrolling, by the way, right? And so she's like, you're just, not only are you serious, I just feel like you're always carrying the weight of the world on you. How many guys carry the weight of the world on you, right? And thank goodness I had a friend, and thank goodness I had enough leadership to not get offended by that. Because some of y'all, I know you, some of y'all got to let go of the spirit of offense, right? Some people are trying to help you, talk to you, and say, this is getting in the way, and you get mad, you get angry, you get defensive, you get whatever. I know that you're in here watching right now. This is your angel on your shoulder saying, it's time to shift. It's time to choose a new character. It's time for it not to be willpower, because guess what? Willpower ain't consistent. My friend Benjamin wrote a whole book on it. He did a huge study. Willpower and motivation is not consistent. I am not interested in being a motivational speaker. It is not consistent. But you know what is consistent? Taking 3 days of your life and going and doing a vision workshop where you actually start to say, maybe I'm going to be in stadiums of 200 or 200,000 people. Maybe I'm going to have a relationship. I declared, some of you guys are setting too much time between you and your goals. I was like, I'm going to meet my husband in 90 days. I declared it. I didn't law of attraction my life. That's great. It was pulled out of the scriptures. But if you haven't noticed, you guys have been working on law of attraction, there's more to it, right? Because so much of that, we approach it with willpower. And if you have a bad night's sleep, where's your willpower, my friends? If you have a bad night's sleep, go in the comment section. Where's your willpower when you have a bad night's sleep? It's gone. Where's your willpower when your dog dies? I have a client. Before she went and did the vision workshop. I have a client, Amy. Her dog passed away. We lost 6 months in her business. 6 months. And let me tell you something. If that doesn't rock you, she's the most compassionate, loving, generous person, probably one of the biggest ones that I know. Okay, like this is a woman that if she has money, she's giving it to you. So if she gets knocked off her leadership because she's emotionally unstable when her dog passed away. And by the way, I have 2 dogs, a Labradoodle and a Bernese Doodle. I had a Jack Russell for like 18 years that went everywhere with me, saw every heartache of every boyfriend I ever dated that didn't work out. You get what I'm saying? All the reason to hold back, do it slower. So I love my animals, but she lost 6 months because of her leadership. You'd be well bet that I not only enrolled her in doing leadership, I told her she can't run her life like that. How many of you guys know you can't run your life like that? Do you see what I'm saying? Like you can't, people buy off of emotions. You get consistent by commitment. And your emotions are going to be all over the place. And we can manage them to one level. But the truth is what if you're the type of person who can declare? I met my husband in 90 days. I declared. And when I declare something, it happens. If you're anywhere around me for any amount of time, I always say, I always hit my numbers. I always hit my numbers, which means I just have this mindset that it's going to work out. And it's not because I'm not going to do something. Something's going to break, right? You're going to have a fight with someone you love. Can you get yourself back in the saddle and lead a movement? Can you get yourself back in the saddle and finish that book? Can you get yourself back in the saddle and actually lead your day and keep your commitments? I'm going to tell you something. Most of you with love can't. Some of you guys can. Most of you guys with love can't. And you've been spending, I'm going to use the word wasted. It's a tough word because I don't necessarily mean you wasted it, but it's how you have it wired in your head, right? Can you guys follow me here? Give me some grace here for a second. Because it's like, I feel like I have to have courage to say it like this, which is leadership, right? Because I know some people are going to get mad when I say this, but you've wasted years doing it your way. And it's been inconsistent. And the challenge with that is how many more years are you going to waste? Do you guys see what I'm saying? Yes or no? So I'm up online and I'm teaching, here's exactly how you create $1 million. Tomorrow I'm going to do it. Here's exactly how you create $1 million. How many of you guys know you won't follow through, but yet you've been asking for the how for so long? So I'm going to tell you the how is not in another funnel, tactic. All of that how is important, but you have to lead it. Do you guys see what I'm saying? You have to lead it. So I'm going to encourage you to look at in 3 days, 3 days virtually, we can take where you're stuck, where you don't know what to, I'm going to give some examples. Like people say, I don't know what to offer. I've been in the Facebook group looking at the homework. You guys are freaking incredible. Like the people, you guys are breaking through. Am I right or am I right? Like I'm watching, but I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm coming up with your homework. I'm coming up with your roadmaps. I'm coming up with what to work on. And if I don't stay in your ear, how many of you guys know this, Linsette? Right? If I don't stay in your ear and say, girl, guy, right? Girl, Quincy, I want to see at the end of the week, I want to see $2,000 in your bank account, or I want to see $100,000 in your bank account. This is the stuff I put my clients through. And if they don't have the leadership to do it, and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to the fridge to eat because I don't want to feel rejected. Or you know what, I tried that. I talked to 20 people, not one person bought. If they get stuck in the weeds, then either I'm out of business or they're out of business. So I had to find a way to get my entrepreneurs and my people. You don't have to be an entrepreneur to go through this. But you do have to be driven. Right? You do have to want more for yourself. But there was a point when I was growing this enterprise, this empire, that I was like, I can't hold any more people on my back. And I went to Michael and I said, Michael, will you come in and partner with me? And can we bring the trainings into this company and free people so that they can not only rely on themselves, they stop having, you know why you don't buy something? Because you don't believe it's going to work, or you don't believe that you will work. And it's mostly you know down deep inside that you could have prevented the rug from being pulled out from underneath you in most situations. Not all, but in most. Am I right? Because if you can't see that, we got a deep problem. We got a really deep problem, right? You got to be able to at least go, okay, I can see that, even though that was wrong that happened to me. So I went to Michael and we brought in the trainings to our center about 3.5 years ago. And we've had thousands of people go through this training. In the first half of last year, we had 2,000 people alone. But what happened last year that's probably going to happen this year is that I gave people an open door. It's a $5,000 program. I gave people an open door for the first half of the year. I offered it a couple times. I offered it a couple months ago, and that price is gone. Now I'm about to offer it to you again at a very high discounted opportunity. Lean in, because I'm going to tell you, if you've been walking around saying, I just want the how. Somebody just tell me how to get up on a stage and speak. I'm going to show you that on Friday. This Friday, I'm going to show you that. The problem is that it took me 2 years to actually take that coaching until I got leadership. Once I got leadership, I did it. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you guys see what I'm saying? Like, what type of you want freedom, right? Freedom is within you. It's not within your coaches. It is in with you. You've heard it forever, but you didn't know how to access it. This is how you access it. So we've got a vision training for 3 days. We have them multiple times a year. I recommend that you get in the next 90 days to a class. They do sell out. Okay, they do sell out because there's only so many people that we can put in a room. Vision is like, imagine there's an eggshell around you and you're like, bam, 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 bam. I just need to get out. I need to get out. I need to see a different way. I need to see a different way to not have an emotional trigger with the person I love. I need a different way on figuring out how to get myself to stay consistent so that I can actually create the income that I want. I want to get this book out. And I want to take 2 more years to get it out. I want to be like Grant Cardone and go into a room and get it done in a day. How much freedom would you have if you could just sign yourself up for a TED Talk, if that's what you want, because your book's already done, you did it in a day? Do you guys see what I'm saying? How much freedom would you have if you said, I want to buy homes in the recession because it's the right freaking thing to do. It's not going to come back around for another 8 or 9 years. And by the way, one of our clients did leadership and in 2 weeks got the down payment for her house. Okay, so I am not a miracle worker. I cannot make you all do that. I can't even do it if you work with me one-on-one. I tried for years. I can if you do this leadership program. So in the first 3 days, we're going to put you through vision. You cannot work. It's all day. It's commitment. But we are unwinding a lifetime. For some of you, we're unwinding generational curses, right? We're taking it back. We're getting rid of not only whatever got placed on you, whatever was said over you, but we're unleashing you so you are a clean canvas like an artist and you can paint. That's what my life is going to look like. And we're going to create it now. We're not going to journal, feel better, have a Starbucks moment. We're actually going to create it in the program. Okay, so if I can find a husband in 90 days, if I can create $1 million inside of 1 month or inside of 1 weekend, why, if some of you guys aren't doing that, some of you guys might be doing that. It's like, what's your next level? Right? What's your next level? And why would we, like I said to myself, I'm not settling for a body that has 10 pounds overweight. I'm not settling for a body that I don't want to wear a bathing suit. I'm not settling for that. That's leadership. That's not like I'm a victim to this. It's like I'm changing this now. It doesn't matter if it's hard, because I see a vision that is so much bigger than the hard starts to go away. So vision is 3 days. That's what gets you to see it, right? So this is really, I would say, this is the moment that you become free, okay? Then you're gonna do 4 days in breakthrough. Breakthrough is like, honestly, some of you guys, you're tough. You're tough, right? You might be the tough person in your group. You need tough people around you. Some of you guys are soft. And you need someone to see you, you need somebody to cultivate you, you need somebody to rise you up. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Breakthrough is where we drop all the walls that make us who we are currently. Do you see what I'm saying? So currently, where we want to go, it requires us to change our character. It requires us to change our habits. And that's why it drives me nuts when I love the books on habits. They're great. They're fantastic. But there's only so much you could do in tactics. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Like, yes, you can habit stack. You can do all this stuff. They're all fantastic. But the problem is if you don't follow through and you don't stay committed to something, do you see how commitment's the problem? This is your commitment insurance plan. Because that's why the tactics that work for everyone don't work for you. Because it's all diet mentality. You just need to have wealth as a lifestyle. You need to have kindness as a lifestyle. You need to have like love, like really good love as a lifestyle. And you lead that. Nobody else leads that. So now you're here, you are self-empowered. Now, the problem is that when you do workshops, like there's Landmark out there, there's lots of really cool workshops. The problem is you get out and it starts to slip. How many of you guys know that? This is the reason why somebody wouldn't jump into something like this, because you'd be insane not to jump in if you need what I've talked about at this point, right? Like, why would you even take another course? Why would you ever read another book? Why would you ever live another week without getting yourself in the vehicle that you've been looking for your whole life? And I say that 100% convicted, right? Because I've coached a lot of people. And if you don't get your leadership in check and stop spending the rest of your life looking at where you think you're broken. I mean, how many women and men have like, I got to fix myself before I meet the man or woman of my dreams. Are you freaking kidding me? How many of you guys married right now? Put an M in the chat. You know that it's changed, right? Like you've actually gone on the journey. Like you didn't get fixed and then meet the person and then stay that person. Like the lies and the deception that are out there, and they are taught by very convicted human beings that believe they're doing a good job. How about we put the power back in you? You run the ship. You say what you want, you declare what you want, and you create it. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? You don't need a lifetime of rehashing yourself. Okay, so vision breakthrough gets you empowered. But what we say at Hardcore Leadership is we say, test us. I'm very, very proud to say that 99% of every student who has currently gone through this training in the last 3 years, 99% have actually hit their goal. So when you're done this, you're gonna say, all right, Chanda, let's see, I feel amazing. I feel so good. Great, that's awesome. But we need a tangible result. You guys ready for a tangible result? Yes, absolutely. So we have a third level called practice. And this is where the miracles happen. In practice, you give us a big, audacious goal. You're like, all right, this is where I'm going, right? You give us a big, audacious goal. And then what we do is we coach you as a company. Like we're all in your life in a good way. Because what it takes to get a 99% success rate is nothing short than a committed group of people who are relentless about whatever dream you want. So let's play a game right now. If you were to do Hardcore Leadership right now, what would be the vision, the goal? What would you put up in practice that's like, that's what I want? What do you want? Declare it right now. Starts with the declaration. Declare it right now. You're done vision breakthrough. We're not going to hang out in the stories anymore. You see things totally different. So you got perception, you got viewpoint. You're no longer a victim anymore. Now we break all the habits, the trauma, the emotions, the freaking like really, really bad coaching that you believed for so long that had you over here when you want to be here, right? Then we break you through and you're now empowered. You're self-empowered. What would be the goal that you would go after if you could just completely leave all your fears aside? What would that be? Put that in the comment section. So now now this is where you ask yourself, if we have 99% success rate in the program, how much is that goal worth to you? How much is that goal worth to you? Or another way of saying that, do you want to live without that for any longer in your life? If the answer is no, I'm going to invite you to join us in the Hardcore Leadership Program. You go to joinhclnow.com, joinhclnow.com. So you go to joinhclnow.com. And here's what I want to share with you. So at the end of the day, when I look at making a decision in my life, and by the way, I've dropped this training down from $5,000 to $2,400. From $5,000 down to $2,400. If you can't do a full payment, I'll finance it for you for 3 payments of $997. So you're gonna pay more on the 3 payments of $997, but it's $2,400. So you're looking at a little bit more than half off the training. Okay, so I am notorious of not making the same offers I made this offer 2 months ago. This is not the same offer. Here's what I'm going to do for right now. If you make a decision and you jump in, like you jump in now, I mean, in the next 30, 40 minutes tops. So team, 40 minutes, put 40 minutes on the clock. They're going to watch that link. Okay, there's a chat on that link if you need to ask any questions. But here's the thing, I want to empower you that you already know if you should do this. Okay, because whatever goal is down here in practice, it's gonna take some work. Are we in agreement? It's gonna take some work, it's gonna take some attention, it's gonna take a relentless group of people behind you. It just will. If you didn't, unless you put up some little puny thing, but if you're like, no, this is the life dream that I want my husband, I want $1 million business, I want to write that book, I want to do a TED Talk, I want to get on the news, I want to meet Joel Osteen. I don't know what it is that you want, but I am telling you that the someday game is BS. Let's get the life is now game, right? So if you go to joinhclnow.com, in the next 40 minutes, here's what I'll do. On June 13th, everybody write that down, so put in the comment section, June 13th, because somebody's gonna go, what date did she say? So on June 13th, I will gift you an opportunity to sit with our team and some of our clients, and I'm gonna be running, they're called roadmaps. So what do you need to put financially in your life? What are the structures? What are the pricing? What do you need to put in your life to be able to hit 100,000? Nobody should be going for under $100,000 a year. Okay, like to me, you're still on poverty line. Okay, so let's get you off that. Let's change your perspective. Come sit at my table, right? So I'm going to do a virtual training. It's a half-day training where on June 13th, I will be training how do you do, it's called an ascension plan, but it's a roadmap. It's everything that you need to do to hit 100,000, then everything you need to do to hit 500,000. Everything that you need to do to hit 1 million. And then we'll jump from 1 million to 3 million and 3 million to 5. Do you get what I'm saying? And so I'm going to teach it over half a day. And I'm going to tell you when this rug gets pulled out from underneath you, what do you do? When this rug gets pulled out from underneath you, what do you do? Because here's the challenge. You guys are all taught how to do more things than you think. But the problem is okay, how to have a great conversation with your spouse or somebody you're dating when you're very highly triggered, or maybe a family member. We'll teach that, by the way, style flexing. Okay, and so you're sitting there, you're having this conversation, and you get triggered and it goes sideways. Well, that's a rug being pulled out. So on the roadmap bonus that I'm going to give with joinhclnow.com on June 13th, there are rugs that get pulled out for you if, say, you put in some effort and the sales don't come in. Say you create a sales lead offer. You guys who don't know what I'm talking about, watch yesterday's training, right, y'all? Tell them to watch yesterday's training if they didn't watch it, right? So, you do a sales lead offer and nobody buys. That's a rug being pulled out from underneath you. Say you had enough courage to create a free lead magnet and nobody takes it. That's a rug gets pulled out from underneath you. Say you're like, I'm going to take Shanda's coaching. And even though I'm just starting my business or I've been in business for a little while, at the end of the day, I don't feel ready to do a sales team, but I'm going to trust her. We just had a couple of our clients do this and they're crushing it. They didn't feel ready. That's all leadership, by the way. I don't care if you don't feel ready. Could you have the courage to do it? Not by just blind faith. I'm totally into faith. I'm a God lover, right? I'm totally into faith. But the thing is that it's not just faith, it's your leadership to follow through. Right? When you look at whether you like Oprah Winfrey or not, she had the leadership to follow through every breakdown in their life. Whether you're a Jesus believer or not, he wasn't just hearing from God, creating miracles in the world. He had leadership. In fact, he said when people are like, oh my God, I see the miracles, I want to follow you. That's your movement, by the way, when people start following you. And then he said, okay, let's go now. He's like, I got to go handle these other things first. That's the equivalent to I don't feel ready. Some of you guys have a miracle coming in right now. My friend Rex Crane would tell you miracles all around you right this moment. They're literally hovering in your space right this moment, but you block them. That's leadership. That's leadership. So I'm going to tell you, if you have a declaration to make money, or you have a declaration to heal a relationship, you have a declaration to break the spell of singleness and you don't want to be single anymore, right? Some of you guys want to be single. That's not who I'm talking to. I'm talking to the ones that are crying themselves to sleep that want to be in a relationship, right? If you want to be single, congratulations. You're doing exactly what you want to do. But I'm saying, if you want these results in life and you don't have them yet, Yes, it's outside your comfort zone, but you were battling with a leadership challenge. I'll give you a last scenario. We had a situation happen in our business, and I hired very smart people to help me. And we were bleeding out in a certain area of the company and last year. And I did a big event, and we bled out like almost 40% off the event. I'm not going to give you the details, but just let's put it this way. It was about $800,000 gone like that. Okay. And I had the leadership to not freak out. I had the leadership to not kill my husband because I was so mad. I had the leadership to just completely, when we talk about pivots, money loves speed because it's a leader that literally can manage their emotions and go, there's the opportunity, let's go. 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 You're not sitting in the weeds. I don't care who's right or wrong in a battle with my husband or a team member at Heartcore or a friend. I don't care about that. I really don't. I care about where we're going, right? So when that happened in my business, I was able to step in and two 10-minute calls with certain team members that did not exist before, meaning that they were not in this department. We were able to recoup $200,000 in about a month. Okay, so that would not have happened. Michael would say this if he was standing here. That would not have happened if I didn't use my leadership skills to turn it around. I still had clients to work with. I still had events to do. I still had karate to go to as a mom. And now I'm about to have tennis club 5 freaking days a week. Oh my gosh, right? Like, it's like, how do you expand your bandwidth and not break? That's leadership. So if you're sitting in overwhelmed, you're sitting in frustration, you're sitting in confusion, or you're sitting with an unattained goal right now, which, by the way, is important. Even if you have, I'm speaking to someone right now, even if you have somebody in your life that doesn't understand why you have to go do whatever you're doing, I'm telling you right now, they don't know the destiny on your life, and a door is going to open when you actually do it. So stop holding back. Your gateway, your bridge to be able to stop holding back is to go to join8clnow.com. I think it's probably about 30 minutes left where I'll throw in the June 13th roadmap training. Come join my clients and we'll show you how to do financial roadmaps, exactly the steps to do. But I'm telling you, you won't do them if you don't do leadership. And I know because I've been coaching forever, it's a very, very small percentage of people who already have good leadership, and whatever they set out to do, they create the result. Now for you guys who that I'm speaking to you, I'm going to tell you something. When I see a pro athlete, a pro entrepreneur, I see we've had many pro athletes, venture capitalists, and single moms that are ballers. Do you know what I mean? Like the single mom that's like, you can't believe she gets all that done. When we see high performers go into this training room, they go to a whole nother level. They actually get how valuable they are. Now I'm speaking to everyone. When you get how valuable you are, you don't say, I'm not going to say it because I don't want to step on their toes. You don't say, you know what, I'm tired tonight, so I'm not going to play with my kids. You just don't do that. And it's not about being a grinder. Do you guys hear the difference? It's not about being a grinder. When you can see it, you can sell yourself on it. You start to create a vision that you feel thankful that you're playing a part of. You feel responsible, not from a weight way, but you feel responsible from a way like, I am so honored that I get to be here with you all week and next week and show you how to create $1 million frameworks. But I'm telling you, you need an insurance plan for most of you. And I'd recommend you go to join8clnow.com. Final bonus. I'm going to give all you guys my list building program. Okay, so I think it's the 23rd of this month, 23rd, 24th, 25th. I'm going to train how to do lead generation. Okay, do you think that there's going to be rugs pulled out from underneath you when I train this? Absolutely. Do you want to have the ability to pivot and walk through it and not let a bunch of time get in between getting back up to the starting plate? Do you guys see what I'm saying? Some of you guys already know exactly what to do, but you're not doing it because you're scared of something not working, right? Sales work, webinars work, events work, presentations work. They all work. Funnels work, lead magnets work. They all work. If they didn't work for you, something broke where you gave up your leadership and you gave up your power. I want to stop that in the world of entrepreneurship because I'm going to tell you, if you're sitting in the middle class or you're at $1 million, because that's not enough. We need to move us all much further on the right side of the tracks. And that's what I'm really doing here. And to be honest, most people won't do it without leadership. I've tried. All right, you guys, I'm going to end this training today. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about financial models. I love, appreciate you guys. Trust yourself. Don't let this offer pass. All right. So much love to you. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. California time. Bye.